And good morning, everybody. This is Sherman Ray, and this is Black Success Magazine, the podcast. And I want to welcome everybody to the show today. I'm your host, Sherman Ray. I'm the producer and director and the main guy over at Black Success Magazine. We put on this podcast Monday through Fridays, 8:30 in the morning to about 9 o'clock. We talk about the people, the trends, the places, everything you can imagine from a Black success perspective. And today we've got a pretty cool show. We're going to actually talk about 10 do's and don'ts of raising capital for business. So stick around for that in the third segment, folks. Should be fun. Before we get going, folks, we're doing some changes to the website. We've having some technical difficulties over the last number of months with the site. So we're going to change the whole format and do some really cool things with it. So I hope that hope you enjoy that. And that's right. You'll be able to go over the website. It's at blacksuccessmagazine.com. If you'd like to send me an email, you can always send it to info@blacksuccessmagazine.com, and we'll check that out, especially for our Friday broadcast where we do open mic Fridays on Fridays. So you can always check that. Send me an email and we'll read your question on air. As always, folks, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts, where you can check out all of the stuff that we're doing. For those business owners that have been inquiring about Las Vegas Speaks, we are actually right now, if you'd like to be on our showing, because we're starting to film Las Vegas Speaks right now, even as we speak. If you would like, if you would like to be on Las Vegas Speaks, you're a business owner that you'd like to get involved in that, just send me an email at info@lasvegasspeaks and .com, info@lasvegasspeaks.com, and you can check that out. And we also have another publication. It's called LV Flicks. Very excited about that too. We call that the Hollywood in the Desert. And so very excited about that. So much more. We'll talk about that later. But like I said, in our third segment, we're going to talk about the 10 do's and don'ts of raising capital in business. So stick around for that. Should be fun. So in the news today, there's an art exhibit that is doing a virtual, it's the first ever Black virtual art exhibit, and it showcases the work of 60 internationally renowned Black artists and galleries. And this is the Harlem Fine Arts Virtual Pioneering shows, including works from people from Soweto, Spence Gallery, Adamola, just tons of stuff. It's the largest traveling diasporic art show in the country, and it's opened 2021, and we'll have over 60 artists and galleries from around the globe. The show, which is free to the public and accessible 24/7, will feature interactive displays showcasing some of the world's preeminent Black artists with over 1,200 works available, valued at more than, get this, $100 million. That's a lot of money. The fair will run continuously through Saturday, July 31st of 2021. And these are important things that you want to get involved in and you want to check out, especially for those of you who really are into art. And I know I am. And I think what we tend to do is we take for granted that because we're Black, we know everything that's going on in the Black community, but we really don't. We did a story, I think about a year ago. We first did it 2 years ago, but we did the story a year ago on the podcast about Uncle Nearest Green. And for those of you, just kind of a refresher for some of you who know who this guy is. Uncle Nearest Green is the guy, or you might know of the brand called Jack Daniels whiskey. Uncle Nearest Green was the guy who actually was the mentor for Jack Daniels and showed him how to make whiskey. Not only did he show him how to make it, but he made the whiskey. This is like in the 1800s. So people had wondered, so most people don't know that story. We re-aired that story just about a week ago, 2 weeks ago. But my wife and I went out yesterday looking for the commemorative bottle because Jack Daniels, the company, has been putting out this, now it's commemorative bottle of Uncle Nearest Green's, private reserve bottle of whiskey, in to commemorate the fact that this guy actually was the guy who actually did all the work for Jack Daniels. And it wasn't very surprising that those things happened in those days. It's just that most people had no idea publicly. In the Jack Daniels family, they knew about it. I mean, everybody knew about it because they'd come to work every day. This guy's still sitting there, right? His family was still sitting there. To this day, the Nearest Green family, their lineage, still works for Jack Daniels. I believe some of them are kind of peeled off and are starting their own brand, but they've been doing it for generations. So it's, but most Black folks don't know that. And an art exhibit like this is just another cool way of really getting more and more feedback to the Black community, so we know a little bit of what's going on, and we can gain some insight. This story actually happened a couple of maybe a week ago, but Beyonce, I don't know if you knew this, she broke a record to become the singer with the most Grammy awards of all time. Yeah, I know. The last time, I think a lot of us didn't know that. As she won her 28th Grammy Award for R&B performance for Black Parade, Beyonce made history as she surpassed country bluegrass singer Alison Krauss' former record of 27 Grammys and became the most honored singer artist of all time. Now, I think we all knew that Beyonce had done some cool stuff. She does her thing with, Destiny's Child and everything else. Did not know that she actually had broken the record with 28 Grammy Awards and now has become the all-time best singer or most awarded singer of all time. So congratulations to Beyonce. And I'm going to show you this one, guys. This next story, before we go on a break, because, we're going to do this. So this next story, I got to share it with you because I think it's just cool. It's just a cool story. Many of you know who Michael Strahan is. So Michael Strahan, former defensive lineman for the New York Giants. Now he's an NBC commentator, and he's got this big gap between his teeth right here. Big. It's about silver dollar. Well, I don't know if you heard about this, but he actually closed the gap between his teeth. That's been his thing. That's been his iconic thing. I'm going to show you the video on this because this is actually pretty cool. And it's about a minute long. So we're going to show you what it looks like and how. So go. Here we go. Hopefully you can hear this.
If I go home and say I'm going to do it, it'll be don't do it. If I post, it'll be don't do it. If I talk to my friends, it'll be don't do it. If I talk to my business partner, it'll be like don't do it. But I got to do what I want to do for myself now. And you're the only one who knows. No, we're just going to show them. Hey, you're the best at this, so I'm here.
So you can see the gap, right? And that's a form right there. That was a form they were doing for his teeth.
Okay, in the moment, it was 50 years in the making.
That's the last view of those teeth right there, folks. You just saw it. Here it goes. Here it goes. There it is. Can you believe that? Michael Strahan. What? Come on. Was that cool or what, huh? I thought you'd like that. Michael Strahan got the grill done. And it's the funny thing about it. I know some of you are like going, I know this is actually pretty cool. Okay. Thank you, Chris. Chris Dyer's been watching us for quite a while now, and he says he's getting some really some bad feedback from where he's at. But hey, thank you very much for being. So thank you so much, Michael Strahan, for sharing that. I think that's pretty cool. With our next segment, folks, we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the cool things that are going on in the world of entertainment. I think you're going to enjoy this. Sherman Ray, Black Success Magazine podcast. We'll be back in just a second. I know. Isn't that cool? I thought that was pretty cool. So for those of you that were watching us in the last segment, you actually got to see that Michael Strahan got his gap closed between his teeth. I'm going to get my whole thing done too, folks. I mean, I've got what they call one of those radio faces. Okay. But my wife loves me, and she's loved me for 30 years. So I'm very excited about that. But, did you notice the thing about Michael Strahan though? Because for those of you who don't know, Michael Strahan like a $50 sized hole between his teeth. And when he got that filled in, he didn't get like this big gold grill thing, or diamonds and stuff. It just white teeth, and he looks good, and nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with you putting gold in your mouth. I care less, to tell you the truth. If you want to have gold in your teeth, that's up to you. But Michael Strahan did his thing, and that was very, very cool. So congratulations to Michael Strahan. There was a story. This was from Black Enterprise magazine, and Jamie Foxx and Datari Turner are signing a movie making deal with Viacom, CBS, MTV Entertainment Group. After 3 decades of shining on screen, actor Jamie Foxx is preparing to step behind the camera following his recently inked production deal. The Oscar-winning actor and his producing partner, Datari Turner, recently signed a deal with Viacom CBS. Deadline reports the production duo is set to create and executive produce a series of original movies across MTV's and BIPOC filmmaker portfolio aimed at increasing diverse storytelling. Okay, well, see, I love the fact that Jamie Foxx is branching out. What I'm fearing right now, though, folks, and this is just me, okay, so you can take it, the way you want. I believe that Black entertainers, Black storytellers, Black producers do not have to take handouts from these major corporations because we are the talent. Okay, Jamie Foxx, Will Smith, guys like that can carry an entire show by themselves. I mean, Will Smith has done it several times where he has carried the entire show by himself. Byron Allen. For those of you who know Byron Allen. Byron Allen owns the Weather Channel. He owns not some other shows. He owns more TV shows than anybody in history right now, and he is still alive. He owns more shows. I mean, he's just a prolific guy. We should not have to worry about, handouts from CBS or MTV or whatever. Create our own thing, That's why we created LV Flicks, okay? Because we believe that there is enough talent here in Las Vegas that we don't have to go to Hollywood. So we're creating our own platform to showcase off our own people. And Black producers, directors, talent, sports guys, we don't have to get handouts. We don't have to have that special diversity thing, okay? We are the talent, okay? There's so many talented Black folks. We, like you said in our first spot, Beyonce just became the number one Grammy Award winning artist in history. And she's just getting started. It's not even like she's been around a long time. Beyonce's been around for years, but she is the talent. So when I see stories that talk about, oh gosh, that MTV is getting a diversity thing, guys, if it weren't for Black artists, MTV wouldn't be an MTV. Okay, if it weren't for Black artists, CBS wouldn't be CBS. Viacom wouldn't be Viacom. They live off of us. So let's continue just to push forward using our own talents. And if these companies want to, create something to make them feel good about themselves, that's fine. But we should feel good about ourselves because we're doing some good stuff. This is a good story. I think this is important. Many of you know this man, and let me show you a picture of him. Okay, Terrell Owens got in a car wreck just recently, and we want to make sure that that everybody knows about this. Terrell Owens used to play for the Dallas Cowboys, and then he got traded later on in his, career to another team. But he got in a car crash just recently, but thankfully he walked away unscathed. Former NFL player Terrell Owens was in a dangerous car crash, walked away unscathed on March 27th. The 47-year-old revealed on Instagram he got into an accident on the freeway. The details of the crash are unknown, but he did share pictures of his knees on his knees, okay, praying. Yes. I think that's probably a good idea. Owens wrote in the caption, I was on my way home, but this, how my day ended yesterday and how my day started today. Thankful for no injuries, health, and able to see another day. God is good. So Terrell Owens, we'll be praying for you, brother, because Terrell's a good guy. I mean, he really is. I know a lot of people, especially if they played against him, are not big Terrell Owens fans, but we love Terrell Owens, and so glad that he got out of that alive. There's a book, and for those of you that are sticking around for the show, folks, on our third block, we're going to talk about the 10 do's and don'ts, the do's and don'ts of asking for capital for money for your business. So, John Lewis, his latest graphic novel to be released posthumously in August. This is good. For those of you who don't know who John Lewis was, he was a representative, and he just died recently, literally John Lewis died within the last 6 months. The newest edition in a series of graphic novels about the late Representative John Lewis is set to be released August 3rd this year. Publisher Abrams Comic Art announced. This latest book, Run, Book 1, will be the sequel of the March trilogy that was an autobiographical series about Lewis's life as a civil rights activist and congressman. Lewis co-wrote the March graphic novel series with Andrew Aiden. That series ended with the 25-year-old Lewis attending the famous march from Selma to Montgomery, Alabama, to fight for voting rights. So that should be really cool. As you said, these are some cool books that we probably should all go out and get, because they tell a story about that we don't want to get secondhand stuff. John Lewis marched with Martin Luther King during the civil rights marches of the 60s. He witnessed some atrocities that many of us, we only read about. And we think our life is tough now. Those guys had it really tough. And so he gives a reckoning or a recall of first-hand knowledge of what happened during those days. And so you want to definitely take a look at that book. Last story before we get on with our third segment. This story is about her name is Alexis Newton, and the story is, in essence, it says, from burnout to quilt queen, this entrepreneur story will inspire you. These are some of the names that have her quilt, of her fabrics: Oprah, Viola Davis, who I love, Sarita Jakes, now proudly hang Kim Alexis Newton's luxury gift quilts in their homes. This is cool. 18 months ago, Kim Alexis Newton left her corporate job of 20 years after taking a leap of faith, or rather a push, to fully walk into her purpose. The results? Kim's Quilts, a line of luxury gift quilts that Oprah, Viola Davis, and Sarita Jakes now proudly hang in their homes. And while many would have been worried about heading back to corporate America for a stable job, especially in the midst of a global pandemic, for the Fisk and Vanderbilt graduate, this was an opportunity to step into freedom. which is, I mean, this is one of those stories that happens so often, is that we look at, and it happened to me. I used to be an electrician, and 2008 was the last time I worked for anybody, because that was the day I got laid off, and I said, I'm done. I'm done working for somebody else, and the rest is history. So congratulations to our sister on that one. In our last segment, because we're running a little long here. In our last segment, we're going to talk about the 10 do's and don'ts of raising money, raising capital for your business. Okay. So we'll be back in just a second. This is Sherman Ray, Black Success Magazine, the podcast. We'll be right back. All right, folks, let's talk about it. Okay. We're going to get right into it because I know we've got so much on the plate here. Okay. Many people are trying to raise money for their businesses, and there's a variety of ways of doing it. I mean, venture capitalists, you can do crowdfunding, you can ask mom and dad, that kind of stuff, if they're so inclined. You can also, I know I heard it Bing. You can also mortgage your house. But if you're looking for money and you're out there asking, you're doing your pitches and stuff like that, there are some things that you want to keep in mind when you are looking for money. First one, do present a clear and easy to understand timeline. Come to your initial meeting armed with an investment to completion calendar that features key milestones for your project. Arrange meetings with a start and end date in mind. And this is so important that people, investors especially, want to know, how are they going to make their money back? That's why it's important for you to actually have a business plan in place. Many people go, what's a business plan? Your business plan is your roadmap to success. And if you're going to ask people for any amount of money, they're going to want to know, when's it going to start? When's it going to end? And more importantly, how am I going to get my money back? So have a clear and easy to understand timeline of where your business is at. Number two, clearly demonstrate your investability. Don't make the mistake of assuming that since your VC agreed to meet, or your venture capitalist agreed to meet, the worth of your investment is already clear. Okay, you've probably all seen Shark Tank before. These people go, oh yeah, my business, is worth $10 million. Really? And then they say, well, let me see the books, and find out, no, it's not. Regardless of how many preliminary conversations you may have had, walk into the meeting ready to talk participants through every aspect of your business. After all, the VC might add an attendee to the last minute. Curate all relevant numbers and documents ahead of time and bring additional copies. So you need to know, excuse me, for some reason, somebody's really wanting to get a hold of me. So I'm going to stop. Okay, good. So make sure that you know, and you've got all your ducks in a row, because there might be somebody else coming that wants to hear your same story. Okay. Number three, do offer an informed rundown of your competitors. Okay. Nobody can honestly go into a business and go, oh, I have no competitors. There's always a competitor. Okay. You got the idea because you probably saw somebody else do it. They might be in your general vicinity. Okay. You need to begin to show your people that you're doing your due diligence, and that you might have seen something that's close to what you're doing, but they need to know that if there's competition, what makes your business so different? What makes you so unique? Number four, let me make sure we got time here. Oh, okay. All right. So number four, do provide best and worst case scenarios. Being a realist will win you a lot of friends as you work your way through any community of investors. By offering a complete spectrum of possible post-investment outcomes, you allow your VCs to assess the risk and rewards for themselves. Okay. Give them, hey, guess what? Best case scenario, we make $1 billion. The worst case scenario, we lose our shirts. Okay. But just lay it out for the investor, because they want to know. They just want you to be honest with them. Okay. Number five, do list all contingencies. What's a contingency? That's, hey, guess what? If this doesn't work out, we'll work this way. Okay. Will your investment opportunity be affected by extreme weather events? Does the venture rely heavily or entirely on the continued good health of one or two of the individuals? Is there a backup strategy in place for multiple variables? Okay. You got to think through all this stuff. It's not like, oh gosh, I love my wallet and that's all that matters. Okay. You've got to start thinking about this. What happens if you don't have the leather for the wallet? Okay. What are you going to do? Number 6. Let's start on the don'ts. Don't waste time. Okay. If being a realist will score you big points, then wasting investors' time erases them. Okay. These folks do not have time for your shenanigans. They've got 10 other guys that are asking for money. Don't waste their time. Okay. Don't waste it on an extra story or, talking slow, speaking slowly because you want their attention. Okay. Hit the stuff. They probably heard of these, 100 of these before. Okay. Number 7, don't fall prey to siloed thinking. Okay. What do we mean by siloed thinking? That it's only here. You're not thinking about other things that are outside of you. You're thinking in a silo. Okay. You're thinking just what's going on in my life. Okay. You don't want to miss the obvious, and you really don't want someone at the pitch meeting pointing this out. One strong way to avoid this is to practice your pitch beforehand with someone who knows absolutely nothing about your industry. Be prepared to listen carefully to the questions that pop up rather than dismissing them. Okay. So also siloing means also that you're not thinking, gosh, somebody's going to ask me a question about this, that, or the other thing. Okay. Be prepared. Number 8. Oh gosh, I'm going to run out of time. I know I'm going to run out of time. Okay. Oh, good. Going good. Number 8. Don't use pressure tactics. If you aren't sufficiently confident in what you have to offer, you might be tempted to resort to pressure tactics to move your investor along. Rest assured that any VC you approach has been through several high-pressure meetings and still said no. Okay. If your investment opportunity can't speak for itself, you need to go back to the drawing board and effectively address the weak spots. I have sat in on deals that have happened in literally 30 seconds because a VC or venture capitalist knows a great opportunity when he sees it. And if your business does not have the chops, you pressuring him is not going to make him change his mind. Okay. They can see it. They can see a profitable venture and one that's going to need still vetting out. So don't try to pressure them. Number 9, don't balk when asked how much you need. Okay. This is important. If the how much question comes up, be prepared with a straightforward answer. Okay. This is a world of difference. There's a world of difference between I've included estimate figures on a page 27 and $15 million. Okay. Even if the number is clearly spelled out in your proposal, don't obfuscate when asked. It's possible the person asking already knows the answer and merely is probing a bit deeper to see what kind of person you are. Okay. This is important. And I learned this in sales. If you need $1 billion, if you need $1 million, say I need $1 million. Don't ask for less. And don't have this, woe is me or poor thing. It's your business and you all have one shot at this. VCs, these venture capitalists, have the money and they're looking to find out if you have the balls. Okay. I said it. If you have the jewels to ask for the money. Okay. You need to be saying, I need $10 million. That's what this job needs. And if you don't have it, I'm going to look for somebody who does. Okay. That's bold. That's a leader. Okay. It's not being, it's not being, one of those guys that just kind of, is pompous. It's being the guy who knows what he knows. He knows what he needs. Don't ask for $10 million. Don't ask for $100 when you need 10 million. Okay. They want to know because they probably already know that VC probably already knows the answer too. All right. We're going to miss the last one. Don't overpromise. Okay. I'm just going to put it that way. And I think we all understand that. Don't say you can do something you can't do. Okay. That's really important. I really rather that you don't say as much and over deliver than you over promise something and you can't deliver it. Okay. Anyways, tomorrow, folks, we've got Robbie Thomas on. That's right. Robbie Thomas is going to be on the show tomorrow. We'll be talking about finances and we're talking about some cash. Robbie and I have been talking all week long already, so I think we got a cool show coming up. Once again, folks, go to our website, blacksuccessmagazine.com. We're doing some changes on it, so you're going to see some cool stuff. A lot of the stories you hear today and even more are going to be on the website. So as soon as we get some technical difficulties worked out, we will have that up and running. Also, you can send me an email, info@blacksuccessmagazine.com. Would love to hear from you. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts, where you can get the podcast. This has been Sherman Ray once again for Black Success Magazine, the podcast. We will see you again tomorrow for Financial Thursdays with Robbie Thomas. Bye-bye.